Welcome to In the Arena of Success. This podcast is where courage meets opportunity. I'm your host, Henry Beeman, and every week we step into the arena with visionaries, innovators, and trailblazers from all walks of life. We dive deep into the heart of success and uncover the strategies, the struggles, and the unwavering spirit of those who overcome. The real question is, are you willing to step into the arena and fight for your success? Because in this arena, success is not a destination, it's a journey, and it starts right now. All right, Roy, I'm super excited to have you here on the podcast with me today, all the way from Paris, right?
Yes, hi Aaron. Hi Henry. Very happy to be here as well.
Well, thank you. So the way I start my podcast is with a lightning round of 6 quick rapid fire questions, and we're going to jump right into that. So the very first question is, what's your hometown and what is it known for?
I'm from Brussels in Belgium, and I think that Brussels is known for its French fries and chocolate. And
Yes,
it's also the
the
capital
French
of
fries in
Europe.
Brussels. Do you prefer dogs or cats?
I'm not a fan of both, but I had a cat when I was younger.
Okay. And what kind of music would people find you listening to?
Hmm, I would say French rap, something like this.
Okay. And what's on your current reading list?
I try to read business books, and my co-founder Ariel bought me the book from Andre Agassi. So it's like a bibliography of his life and how he handled his career and tennis career, and it's fascinating.
Bibliographies are some of my favorite books to read, and seeing how other people have done what they have done. What's your biggest inspiration in life?
I don't know. I get that question a lot. I think that because I'm the biggest of my family, like of all of my cousin and my brother and sister, I don't really have like people external of my family that I look up to. I would definitely say both of my grandfathers and my dad, but apart from that, I don't have.
And what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
The best piece of advice would be do the things that you are good at.
Yeah, that's a big one. That
Yeah,
one
because I think
confuses
people
people
try to
sometimes.
do what, yeah, I think sometimes people try to do what they love, but sometimes what they love doesn't bring money. And in order to bring money and to be free and to be independent and to be successful, I think you should first be doing what you are good at.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, where did your current journey take me back to the beginning? Where did things start for you?
So things started in Brussels. I grew up there in the Jewish community, so we're a very small community, but it was very important for me, and I was the leader of a youth movement there in Belgium. And it was the first time that I had to lead some people, that I was a manager, that I was in charge of the security, of organizing events, activities for children. And it was definitely the first time that I had a lot of responsibilities on my shoulders, and I just loved it. And I knew that I wanted my life to be like this, to be responsible, to work with people, to try to grow myself and to grow so the organization that I was, but now it's my company. But I just knew at that time that I wanted to be a leader, that I wanted to make things happen and to not wait for the permission of others to do things and to just do it myself in my own way, but to be sure to bring people with me in those adventures. So that's where all it started. I was 18 years old when I was the leader of that youth movement. Then I moved to London to study my bachelor. I did a bachelor in mathematics. I spent 3 years over there. It was great for me. I met some interesting people. I improved my English. And then I got accepted into my dream school. It was called HEC Paris. It's basically the best business school in Europe. And I was extremely excited to go there. And this is actually where I got the Augment idea. Because for me, going to business school really meant learning how to build a successful business. Because even though I studied mathematics, I always knew I was an entrepreneur and I wanted to be an entrepreneur after graduation. And so for me, going to business school meant learning how to build a successful business. And it meant as well to learn from entrepreneurs who have done it before. But when I arrived in business school, very quickly I realized that all my teachers were either academic, sometimes researchers, sometimes consultants, but definitely none of them had built any businesses in their life. And for me, that was extremely frustrating. First of all, for me, they didn't have the credibility to teach me about business. And secondly, it was not applicable at all for someone like me who wanted to build a business from scratch. I think that traditional business school, traditional MBAs, they are great for my classmates who wanted to go into consulting, into private equity, into finance. But for people like me who wanted to build a business from scratch, the courses were completely irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. That doesn't mean that I didn't like my experience at HEC. That doesn't mean that I didn't met amazing friends, amazing people, very smart people.
Right.
But it definitely meant that for me, there was a problem and we could find a way to fix it. And that's why we try to do with Augment.
That's an incredible story. And in your time there at the business school, when was it that you realized that these things weren't going to be helpful for you?
I mean, very quickly. I'm not someone who really likes to go to classes and to listen for hours. I really don't like this. And for me to be focused on something for 2 hours is extremely difficult. So if it's not interesting, it's not relevant, you can be sure that I won't be there after 10 minutes in my head.
Right.
So very quickly, I mean, after 1 month, I understand that I won't learn anything that will be relevant for me, that I should find value of my experience at HEC in another way. So it might be with meeting people, doing great internships. I mean, there are many ways you can play your game at a business school. But it was definitely not the class were the most important ones. And this was for me counterintuitive, because for me, when you go to business school, that you pay such a big amount of money, it's primarily for the course. And for me, it was completely the opposite.
That's a great insight. And one of the things that I've frequently said is that school, from the elementary level, primary school, all the way up through higher education, teaches young folks to sit in their desks and keep them neat and sit in rows and answer questions and follow a system and an order. But most of the people that I found are really successful are the ones that break out of that mold, that break out of the rules that society puts on you and says, these are the ways you're supposed to do things. I'm not saying they do illegal, immoral, or unethical things, but they push the boundaries of what people expect as normal.
Exactly. I mean, I couldn't agree more. And there is that sentence that I love is that the A student work for the C students. Because the C student, they have to find other ways to be able to just be someone, be successful. And because you know that you won't be the best at doing things as people want you to do, you need to find other ways, you need to be creative. And then at the end, you will hire people that will do the things like you ask you to do. So this is really interesting and something that really stuck with me when I heard that sentence.
That's an incredible insight. And it's a great insight for the young folks who are in school right now and feeling like, oh my gosh, I've wanted to go into business, but this school experience isn't what I expected it to be. I'm not sure that I'm in the right place. They very well may be in exactly the right place to start their business and just have to look at it from a different perspective like you did.
Yeah, but of course, everyone is different. Everyone is looking for different things. And I mean, this is an advice for people who consider themselves as entrepreneur. I would say to them, like, you should not care at all about your grade. You should care about doing some networking, launching some small businesses on the ground, understanding AI, but definitely not your grades.
That's powerful. So you're in the best business school in Europe. You realize it's not a fit for your entrepreneurial dreams, and you come up with the idea for Augment with your co-founder. What was the first step? How did you get started?
So we just graduated. We both knew that we wanted to launch a business, that we wanted to be entrepreneurs. And we realized that the thing that we are the most passionate about is business. We love reading books, listening to podcasts, watching TV shows about business, but everything business related. We also know that there are so many entrepreneurs like ourselves who wants to learn, who think that maybe you should learn this in business school, but business schools are so expensive. So we decided, okay, let's bring the greatest entrepreneur of our generation, build a curriculum with them, and create a program where all the classes will be taught by the greatest entrepreneur of our generation. So only people who have done it in real life that will teach you the most important framework and strategies about business. We try to create a curated program where there is everything you need to know about business in order to launch a successful company or to grow your current business. And so in the Augment MBA program, you will learn directly from the founder of Wikipedia, YouTube, Waze, Shazam, Eventbrite, or even from top high executives from Meta, Amazon, Google, or even the Jeffrey Gitomer, our friends in common. He is one of the best-selling authors in sales. He does a superb module on sales. So we only try to bring people who have done it, who have built successful companies, who know what it takes. They will teach you about their challenges, about their success, why you should replicate, and what mistake you should avoid. So this is like the heart, and what makes this program unique is the quality of our faculty.
That's an incredible platform that you've put together, and very clearly some of the best minds in the world in regards to business. How did you go about getting those folks to participate? And I'm sure throughout the process you got a lot of no's. What were some of the setbacks that you saw as you were trying to get this started?
So what was very important once we had that idea that we wanted to build an alternative MBA program with the best entrepreneurs and with the best high executive, now we needed to execute. But in order to build that business, you need money upfront. Not every business needs to fundraise at the very beginning. But in our case, it was strategically very important to get some funding in order to be able to first convince those top speakers. And also something that was very important for us was to create high quality production. So watching class from Augment, it's exactly like watching Netflix. It's the highest production quality. And so in order to create those classes with incredible speakers, with an incredible quality of production, we needed some money up front. So the first thing we did was to create a pitch deck to go see investors. Luckily, the project interested a lot of people. We got that momentum. We were able to raise very quickly a first round of funding. And as soon as we had the money in the bank, now we needed to find the first big names that were gonna do a class with us and that were gonna trust us. But remember, Ariel and I, no experience in business, no experience in sales, no experience in basically anything, no website, no nothing. The only thing that we had was that we had that money that we just fundraised. And so what we did, we just sent cold email to everyone we thought could be a great first instructors. We were looking for someone that was the founder of a company that everyone knows. Because sometimes there are very successful companies, let's say in B2B, cybersecurity, but it's not known by like the public. We were looking for founders of consumer companies because we wanted our student to feel an emotional engagement with this founder because he had created something that we all use every day. So YouTube, Shazam, Waze, Wikipedia. There are applications, there are websites that we all use. And that was extremely important for us. And so one day, after, as you mentioned, a lot of no's, we received an answer from the founder of Shazam via email. We started exchanging with him, telling him about the project. We did multiple calls, like long calls about like who we are, what was his story, why we believe he could be a great foreign instructor, why he should trust us to be the right person to tell his story and to look great on camera. And after some months of negotiation, he told us, guys, come to San Francisco, let's meet over dinner and conclude that deal. So we flew from Brussels to San Francisco. We met Chris Barton, the founder of Shazam. I mean, I was like a kid at that moment. It was at that moment the most important meeting of my life. I was like, I'm going to meet the founder of Shazam. I mean, what the fuck? For me, it was like the first app ever created for my iPhone. You know, it was the first app I remember. And we met him. I mean, we are still very close at the moment. The dinner was super great. I think he was convinced after that dinner. We were able to sign him to book that meeting for Paris and to prepare for the production of his classes. And after we got Chris Barton, it was every time a bit easier to get that next person.
So I want to rewind just a little bit back to that period when you decided to launch and you're sending out cold emails and you're getting a lot of no's, how did you stay positive and keep your motivation and inspiration up to keep going, even though you were hearing no, no, no? And that's where I think a lot of people in starting a business, especially, get frustrated.
I mean, I come from sales, and for my co-founder and I, it was clear that it was a numbers game and that we should just not give up and we will find someone. Maybe we will have not find Chris Barton, the founder of Shazam. Maybe we would have find someone a little bit less famous and we would have done it anyway. We had to start somewhere. I think we got very lucky that we found directly someone that was really like the top of the top for us. But we would have started somewhere. So we could say that to the next person, oh, we got already that person. So I think we would have found a solution and we would have definitely not give up because we knew it was possible. We can see different businesses who did the same. Look at the masterclass, for example. I mean, they also had to start. I think that before starting Augment, I saw one of the podcasts from the masterclass founder, and he explained how long it took him to find that first person to agree to do a masterclass with them. And for me, it was definitely very inspiring to listen to that podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for the listeners, you didn't know any of these people before you started this process, because so many
No,
people
of
think,
course
well,
not.
I've got to know somebody to get there. You didn't know anybody and you started with nothing and some cold emails.
Yeah, definitely. We knew no one. I mean, we are from Belgium, a very small country. I don't even know if people know this country. So definitely we knew no one.
So that's a incredible story of your perseverance and setting an idea of this is what we want to do and not giving up on it and continuing to push through those obstacles to make those connections. And like you said, I found the same thing in my experiences. Once you get that first person on board and you start building some credibility with them, it's much easier. You get more confidence, first of all, but also that level of relationship carries you to new relationships and new people and new contacts to make yourself successful. So that's something that I found is super important, is
Definitely.
building relationships.
Definitely. And I mean, to be honest, when you reach out to me, the first thing that you're going to say is like, I did a podcast with Jeffrey, Dan, and then I will say, oh, those people are super trustful. I want to be like them. So let's do a podcast.
Absolutely. And it is important to know that for folks starting in business, who have I talked to? Who do I know and have in my corner? And I'll tell you, my story with Jeffrey is very similar to your story. It started with a cold email. And that's how I got connected with him. And since then, he and I have done business together and started a partnership. We're in a company together and a couple of different projects that we're working on and books that we're writing. And it has blossomed out of just taking the courage, or as he would call it, the sales balls, to pick up the phone and call somebody, or to send an email and to introduce yourself, and not do it from a state of I'm trying to get something from you, but I'm trying to build something with you.
Definitely. And I think in today's world, I mean, you can find any email address, any phone number. I mean, in today's world, you can try anything. You cannot do anything, but you can try anything. And if you try enough,
Absolutely.
one day, like, luck will be on your side. That's for sure.
So now that you've got these huge names, the founder of Waze, founder of Shazam, YouTube, Jeffrey, and many other folks on your platform, how are things moving forward now, and what are you seeing? What's next for Augment?
So once we signed all those teachers, now we needed to prepare the class. So we had our processes. Everyone came to Paris in order to film. We did that in the span of 3 months. I think we had like 2 filming every month. So it was very intense. But for Ariel and I, it was very important to be very quick to show our investor that we know how to execute, that we can execute fast. And there is like a very famous advice in startup. It's like launch as fast as possible. And so that's what we try to do. We took a lot of time preparing those classes because that will be our main asset. And we needed our video to be perfect, really perfect, the post-production and everything to be perfect. But once we had those videos, apart from the videos, everything could be a MVP, minimum viable product. So we created the first program, we created our website, and we wanted to do it very, very quickly in order to put it up out there and to see the first reaction from the audience, the public, and the first lead that we will get. So in like 2 to 3 months, we were able to launch our program, even if it was far from being perfect. But then you have to be very smart. You need to find your first users. And something that we teach in the program is that when you launch a startup, there are different type of person of client, of customers that will arrive at different moments in your startup journey. And so at the very beginning, you get people that you call the early adopters. And after 3, 4, 5 years, then you will get to the early majority. And the people that are early adopters and the people that are early majority are completely different type of people. And so at the very beginning, you need to find for those early adopters. So people that will decide to use your product or to enroll in your program because they like the novelty. They like the revolution that you are doing. They like the mission. And they don't really care if the program is your product is perfect or not, because they are here because they like the adventure and they believe in what you do. And so we were looking for people who had that characteristic, to like what we were building, to like our mission. And so what we had for those people was a special offer. And so we said, okay, for the first 6 months, all the people who enroll to the program, will have lifetime access to the platform for a big discount. And so people, they were very happy to participate because they felt they were part of the revolution. They were part of something new, something that they thought were really necessary in today's world. And also they got a discount and also they got lifetime access because we wanted to take those people for the trust that they are putting in us. And so it's very important to understand that your first user, they don't care if your product is perfect, but they care about what you are trying to build. And so that's what we did. We decided to focus on those people at the beginning.
That's really a great point, is to focus on the people who are your early adopters, who already believe in what you're trying to do, and you don't have to convince them, and use those folks for feedback on how to get to the next iteration.
100%. That's what we said, because we are a new program. So of course, people want to talk to us before enrolling. And so, for example, on our website, you can book a call with us. And I did so many of that calls. And one of the main things I said is that you will have lifetime access to the program, but please give us as many feedbacks as possible. We need your feedback in order to improve our product, our program, and the whole Augment MBA experience. So this is something very important that you just mentioned.
What you just sparked in my mind is, what kind of pushback have you gotten? Have you gotten pushback from the traditional academic world? I know that you're making a big splash in the world and a huge impact. I was just talking with an individual from the Small Business Development Center here in the US, and they were talking about your advertisement in Entrepreneur Magazine. And there been any folks pushing back and giving you some negativity?
To be honest, no. And I think the reason is that we are not trying to take market share from the traditional MBAs. So we are not trying to get people who wanted to do a traditional MBA to come to us. What we are trying to do is to expand the MBA market. I mean, in the US, less than 1% of the population does a traditional MBA. What we are trying to do is to offer an alternative to the MBA for 99% of the population. So we don't want to be, and we are not in competition with traditional business school. They are there, they will be there. I believe that they will be less and less important and they will lose in credibility as time goes by, but this is my personal opinion. But I don't compete with them. I want to offer a solution for anyone who wants to learn about business without spending tens of thousands of dollars, without having to take 2 years off. I want to offer that solution that is credible, affordable, and flexible to those people.
Absolutely. And that is an untapped market, and you have free reign in that market right now, and you're doing an amazing job and have some incredible things coming out. And I'm super excited to watch Augment continue to grow and see new and more folks presenting and teaching curriculum, because learning from those who have actually done it is something that I've always looked for. And they say that the traditional education system will teach you how to have a job and how to make a living, but self-development, self-education will teach you how to make a life that you or dream about living.
Definitely. I mean, there are so many people I can see out there saying, I don't understand, I graduated, I have my diploma, but I cannot find a job. It's because real jobs are looking for skills, not diploma. And I think it will be more and more like this. And I think that as of today, it's still very important to get diplomas. Don't get me wrong. I have a great diploma. I'm very happy about it. And I know that it's a security. In 20, 30 years, I think things will change a lot. A lot. And
Absolutely.
I mean, personally, for my startup, I don't really care if you have a diploma. If you have the skills, it's much more important. I won't even look at your diploma. If you have the skills, if you know how to do certain tasks extremely well, that's enough for me. More than enough.
In my line of work, I'm in the human capital side of the business world. Skills, and then you have character, and you match with our culture. Those are the three things: skills, character, and culture, and we can reach the moon.
Yeah, I mean, definitely attitude for me. Attitude is the most important thing. I mean, personally, I like to work with people who are happy to work, people who wants to work, people who are ambitious. And smiling is so important and so underrated. Personally, I have a very short experience in entrepreneurship, but working with someone that when arrives at the office is happy versus someone who looks like it's just a job, it makes all the difference in the world. We literally use every single advice that we give in this MBA program, or that our teachers give in this MBA program. And every time we didn't listen to an advice in the MBA program, we regretted it in the future. So it was very interesting. For example, there is Renaud Visage. He is the founder of Eventbrite, the ticketing platform. And he explained like, how important is it to start with a niche and to start with a very small segment of the population to become extremely important to them, and from there you grow. And for him, for example, he organized events in San Francisco for the tech community, and that was his niche. And then it was the tech community in San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles, and then he grew from there. It was the same for Facebook. You know Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. I'm sure he was very ambitious, but he started Facebook in Harvard. After Harvard, it was American University, then it was America in general, and then it was the whole world. And so it doesn't mean that you are not ambitious if you don't go like broad right at the beginning. No. This is what you should do, is to focus on a very small group of people, make sure you bring a ton of value to them, and from there you expand. Something also, this is the first course of the Augment MBA program. It's called Fall in Love with the Problem, Not the Solution. So many people they think that a business come like this. Oh, you have an idea, and from that business idea you build everything. That's not how you should look at business. You should look at business, and business is all about finding problems. Once you find a problem that you know how to solve or that you want to solve, even if you don't know anything about that problem, but you just realize that there is a problem somewhere and you feel that you are capable of finding a solution to that problem, everything should be around the problem and not the product that you are building. And see, this is something very important in business. And I think that there are so many people making the mistake to focus on the product, the feature, and they forget to think about the reason why they have that product. And the reason why they have a product is to fix a problem.
Wow, Roy, that's some incredible parting advice. Focus on the problem, not on your product or your idea. Incredible. Thank you so much for being here and joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you so much, Henry. It was a pleasure to be here with you today.
Did you like what you heard on today's podcast? If so, do me a quick favor and hit the like and subscribe button. That way you'll stay updated on all the new content that I publish. Also, visit me on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and tell me what you want to hear more about. I love to hear your comments. That way I can continue to produce content that you love and enjoy. You can also check out my website, henrybeeman.com.